All right. So 80 years old and we're driving Uber. 80 years old and we're using AI. That's pretty cool. Using social media. That's pretty cool. And the reason why? Because they didn't save when they were young. Quite fascinating and worth discussing. I think, maybe we should listen to the older people. They know what they are talking about. Wouldn't you say?
We laugh at the bill, but the numbers don't lie. Do the joke, do the mad moral financer. Financer, 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 moral financer.
All right, you guys, welcome back to Archie's Briefings. I'm your host, Arshel Branch, and today, you guys, like I said, we're going to talk about the elderly. Something very interesting took place. I've been watching a lot of documentaries, okay, with a lot of elderly people, okay, the elderly folk of of America. I've been watching a lot of those, getting some information and details about what they wish they had done differently, what they are doing to bring in an extra income, and all the rest of those things. And I found it to be quite fascinating, and I got a lot out of it, and I just really wanted to talk about it. Now, I did speak on parts of it in my live this morning. If you didn't catch it, head over to the Pocket Politics channel and watch that live because I was very opinionated on a lot of these issues. And I felt like it needed to be discussed, specifically when we were talking about like the hopelessness that's out there. And I just felt like that needed to be discussed. Now, for this particular episode, we're not speaking to the hopelessness. I'll save that for another episode or go ahead and check out the live, you guys. But we're talking about what the elderly had to offer, what they have to offer, not had to, but have to offer young Americans, millennial Americans. They shared their regrets and they shared their hopes. They shared what they are doing, what they wish they had done differently. And I just found it to be intriguing. It was very interesting. I watched several documentaries, and most of them came from the Business Insider. Others came from like the mainstream media with their, financial series about how, not to do what they did. And I just thought it was interesting. Over 500,000 Americans that are elderly are working, not because they want to, but because they have to after retirement. And, one elderly guy, he said, "How many times can you play golf or play tennis? I love that I'm 80 and I can still work. It keeps me young. It keeps me alive, keeps my feet to the ground. And I love that." And I'm like, yeah, I do love that. I think that having the ability to work the way that you want to work, how you want to work, I think that's remarkable. I think that if we are, when you look at AI specifically, and we start looking at how AI can assist humans in being more efficient, that's really awesome. That's really cool. There are obviously some concerns, the big debate as to whether or not we're heading towards a society of being post labor. Low key, I don't like the idea of heading to a society post labor. I'm fine post 9 to 5. You want to get rid of the 9 to 5, that I'm with. Post labor, that ain't Star Trek awesome, okay? Star Trek was post money, not post labor. I'm for post 9 to 5, not post labor, because how else are we going to earn? Now, the beautiful thing about having so many Americans is that everybody can find the problem that they want to solve. For me, it's the affordability issue. It's trying to help young Americans see what they can do, what they can invest into, how much they can save just by looking at the income they already have. Like for me, it's financial services. Like I want to help people do better with their finances. Like that's the problem that I'm trying to solve. Others want to solve the issue with government and they want to solve the issue with entertainment. Maybe they want to solve the issue with AI. How can AI be useful? How is it going to hurt? What the legislation should look like, etc. That's fantastic. There's enough of us to find those problems and want to address those problems the way we individually see fit. For me, it's affordability and it's personal finances. That means something to me because I know what it's like to not be smart with my money. Been there, done that, and it really effing sucks, okay? And I did relate to the elderly that spoke about not having saved and crisis came and they were not prepared for it. Now, for them, it wasn't so much a crisis. They just got older and they had no savings. And I really felt bad for them. There's a couple of reasons why I really did not like this situation. It's like I'm trying to understand, why is a person's 84-year-old mother or grandmother driving Uber? Like, that's a problem for me. Where are your children if you have any children? Like, where are they? Like, I don't even understand that. How is it that you may have family? I don't know if she has kids, but if she does, like, yo, that's wild. There's no way that my mother is going to get to 80 years old and she's driving freaking Uber. Like, I would never. Yo, it's insane to me. Okay. I would never. I would never have that. Like just a myriad of emotions that took over me while watching this. And what I did love about what I was seeing is that even though she was driving Uber, she was quite proud of it. Her biggest regret was not saving, at least her biggest financial regret was not saving at the peak of her career. She was a nurse. She said because she was in she was a hippie when she was younger. She was living in the here and now. She wasn't thinking about what it was going to be like when she got older. Maybe if I had listened, maybe if I had saved that, $25 a week, or at least, well, for her, it wasn't a week, it was $25 a month. Obviously, that was very different back in the 70s. That she would have been in a different situation. A lot of them were talking about had they waited until they were 70 instead of retiring at 60 and didn't ask for Social Security while they were 60 until they were 70, that they would have gotten a much larger payment. And that's not even an option that we can count on as millennials by the time we get to their age. Like by the time we turn 60, Social Security may not even be an option for us. So they already have regrets for not waiting, excuse me, till they're 70 years of age. And they wish that they were more financially literate, that they understood more about personal finances, the importance of saving and investing, and not just relying on whatever the job gives them, not just relying on the 401k, not just relying on, the job give me my insurance and all the rest of it, but actually looking at what is available to them, saving their money, investing their money, relying on that compound interest, not just having that 401k. I'm not saying don't have a 401k. I'm not saying don't invest your money in an investment savings account. I'm not saying don't look into things like ETFs if you want to go for that. Like, do the research, reach out to people, ask questions. Information is free, because the biggest problem that they had and what they were saying, okay, this is not me, putting it on them. This is what they said, that they wish they were financially literate. One of them was, had a degree in mathematics. He's like, the irony is I have a degree in mathematics and I knew nothing about finances. Like, yo, that's insane, because it is ironic and it's a tragedy. Some of them had to sell their home. Some of them are living it up like the Golden Girls, which I don't even mind so much, but they're roommating at the age of 60 and 70 years of age, still working, not because they want to, but because they have to. And that's a tragedy. And they're telling young people, don't be like me in that regard. And I think that we should listen to that. Now, how does that, make sense into the AI thing I spoke about earlier today? Like, what, Arshel, how are you correlating AI with the elderly and savings? Well, they're not afraid to engage with it. They're not afraid to engage with modern technology. In fact, some of them are saying that they wished this was a thing when they were younger, because I might have done something differently. I might have been able to make more money faster. They probably wouldn't have saved, but they would have made more faster. And if you make way more than you can even you don't even know what tech to do with, then there's a good chance that you may not have spent it all. That's part of it. At the peak of their careers, they weren't being smart. When tragedy struck, when crisis came, they panicked. Some of them sold their stocks. Some of them withdrew from their 401ks. Some of them retired early because they thought that everything was going to be fine, and then it wasn't. And they didn't have any savings to rely on, and they're back working out second jobs. Now, that's the tragedy here. And where this gets good for young Americans is that what they are doing is trying to influence us to be better. Like, that's the point of my content, right? To point out the influences, the negative ones and the positive influences into how we do our money. You don't actually have to go through that if you're smart today. Okay, Dave Ramsey says, life is not a snapshot. It's a film strip. That's his line. My line, and it's pretty much saying the same thing. Your life is not the summary in a playbill, okay? It is the entire production with many acts. And though the first act didn't go your way, if the second act didn't go your way, don't let the negative influences and the hopelessness all over the internet, and sometimes coming from the policy and families and friends, don't let those negative influences convince you to be irresponsible any more than you already have been. Because, low key, that ain't going to be fun. I was told in my 20s, get a job, get a place, pay your bills, party, 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 have fun. Not save, not have some fun and save, not put your savings in an investment savings account, not think about, getting a life insurance policy while your premium rates can still be under 100 if you live a healthy life and while you're young. All of these things matter. Why did they think about it? I have had clients I've sold life insurance or tried to sell life insurance to. They were all elderly people, most of them anyhow. And the premiums are high because they're in their 60s and 70s and they're just now thinking about it. Like, they're just now thinking about it. Don't wait till you're 60. We're living to be older. Like I said, you guys, Betty White died at 99. Cicely Tyson died at 99. Dick Van Dyke is 100 years of age. These are famous people we're talking about. We still got World War II veterans walking around. We got people who are over 100 years old. There's a 100-year-old black woman in America who's still wearing high heels. Well, I've been wearing them for 80 years. Why the heck would I do anything different? We have that in America. Okay, we have that. We are living to be older. And what are you doing to prepare for the next? If you're in your 30s, okay, that's what, 30, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s? Like you're 100, like that's 70 years from today. 70 years. Yo, there's something to be there. It's remarkable. I'm like, yo, the words. I get my sentences. Like, check my files. Get the words. We are talking about being in a time where we have tech at our disposal and we can just think and create in a matter of minutes, hours, days for less than $500 a month to build out something, a product, a service to improve our income. The elderly are doing this. They are leveraging modern tech so they can bring in an extra income. They're not thinking, how do I get rich quick? They are thinking, how can I compensate for what Social Security or my 401k or my pensions don't get me? That's what they're doing. And that's the lesson here. Save your money because that I didn't do. And don't be afraid to use modern tech because that I am doing. From driving Uber to studying social media marketing and engaging in AI, not being afraid of it, using it, engaging with it. You have the opportunity to make something out of yourself in a way that has never been the case on the face of the earth in the history of mankind. That is remarkable because there are problems out here that we do want to solve. If I think that insurance is a scam and you think insurance is a scam, well, let me ask you, if that's the problem you want to solve, well then, because I'm not trying to solve that problem. I'm just trying to get people to, stop spending recklessly, budget, and save. Like, yo, if insurance is a problem for you, if banking is a problem for you, well, how can you leverage modern technology, address that issue, solve that issue, and therefore solve that issue for all your fellow Americans? Like, yo, that's what technology should be doing because in Star Trek, technology made the, biological being. I got to say that because, saying human, obviously, there were Andorians, there were Vulcans. If you're a Trekkie, you know what I mean, right? For the biological being, technology was an assistant to them. It was an asset to them. It made them more efficient. They were able to complete tasks faster and create a civilization of abundance. Solving problems and discovery was the focus of their entire civilization. And labor was protected and people were respected. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Ha! No need to fear the tech. We're living to be older. We need to save. The elderly are saying, save your money. I think we should listen. The elderly are saying, don't be afraid to engage with modern tech. I feel like we should listen to what they're saying. So you guys in the comment sections and let me know what you think about this. Do you think we should listen to the elderly? Because I think this is a positive influence on us. I think that we should listen to what they have to say because if for them, the new battle is to ensure that every other American younger than them does better and that while we do better, that they can live their best lives without having to struggle either because we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. I think that's remarkable. I was bothered seeing an 84-year-old woman driving Uber. Like that bothered me. And though she might love the opportunity, I find it to be a travesty. And I would like for Americans to get in a better place where we can do better for our elderly because that's insane. And so definitely get in the comments. Let me know what you think about everything that I just said in this episode. I hope you guys followed my train of thought. Definitely check out the live that I did this morning. And I'm going to be doing that more so. Okay. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I will be going live in the morning. Okay. Every morning on Tuesdays and Thursdays, not every morning, but just Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, I will be going live on Pocket Politics until I can figure out how to go live on Moral Finance, YouTube, and TikTok. I'm working on it. But at the very least, I'll be going live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Subscribe to both channels of Pocket Politics and to the channel of Moral Finance. Follow me on TikTok under the name of Moral Finance as well. Definitely engage, get in the comments, share the video, like the video, follow me and share those videos and all of it. I really want to grow the reach. I definitely want to reach young people. And I'll tell you what, those elderly Americans, they definitely reached me. So I hope that I can do the same for you guys and try to solve this problem together because it is a problem. And I feel like we got this if we're willing to put the work in and believe in the Lord. So let me know. Subscribe. Again, I love you guys. God bless. And of course, because it's me, Kepler.